Hi guys, it's Weedle. Welcome back. Today I'm going to cover some of the basics that you need to master if you want to improve in World of Tanks. I'm going to go over side scraping, reverse side scraping, double bushing, explain overmatch mechanics to the best that I can, and as well, is there something you should learn before overmatch mechanics? And I do believe there is, and sometimes much easier, so stay tuned for that. As well as some aiming tips for sniping those pesky little cupolas that go back and forth. But I have to ask, guys, my wife keeps asking me a question to start a conversation. She goes, "Hey, did you just hear what I just said?" I look at her and I said, "That's a really weird way to start a conversation." I don't know. But speaking of starting conversations, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and let me know what you think of this video and if it helped you out. Okay, starting off with side scraping. First, why would you side scrape? Well, the main reason is it reduces the likelihood that enemy is able to penetrate your armor. It's basically the reason. Now, it does not always prevent it 100% of the time. A lot of heavy tanks do have uh, weaknesses in their armor that can be penetrated when you're side scraping. Some do not, but um, as a rule, we want to reduce the likelihood that you get penetrated. Now, the way I like to do this is I'll pull up, I just imagine there's like 2 feet from my tank to the corner of whatever I'm side scraping off of. I turn my front gun toward the, or my gun toward the front corner of my tank. And the reason I do that is as I'm backing up, I know that my lower plate is hidden as long as I can't shoot past this corner at them. The only thing that they can shoot is toward the rear of my tank armor where it's really nicely angled, and the likelihood that they penetrate the armor is slim. And whenever I'm ready, I know I can go right here. And basically, at this point, I know that a little bit of my lower plate will be exposed, but not a lot. And I can start exchanging fire with the enemy tank. Now, reverse side scraping, I did mention that. What is reverse side scraping? Why would you do it? Well, it's basically just turning your tank around backwards and doing everything in reverse, like it sounds. But the reason you would do it is especially on tanks like the IS-7, a lot of Russian tanks are like this. Some Chinese tanks, they have pike noses. If you think of some like the French Heavy, the M454, on the front left and right corners of the tank, it's at an angle. So when you side scrape, you basically create a flat spot angle for the enemy tanks to penetrate. So here's an example of reverse side scraping. And you would do it the exact same way. I pull up, leave a couple of feet between me and the front corner. I just turn my gun around backwards, just over that flat spot right there, and then I start side scraping. And at this point, they probably wouldn't be able to penetrate this. I don't believe I'm over angled. And I can just exchange fire. The only thing that would be exposed is this front corner right here, or rear corner, sorry. And that's a much smaller place to hit than the entire front plate. So that's why you would side scrape. Hopefully this helps you out. We're going to move on to the next item in the list. Okay, so let's go over double bush mechanics and what are they, how do they work. So basically, double bush mechanics is being able to fire from concealment without being spotted. Now, I know this is a controlled environment, but if you move up right here, I'm able to spot this tank. Now, if I was to shoot Honey Badger, I'm going to get spotted right here. Because I can see through the bush. Obviously, when I fire that loss of concealment, she can then see me. So let's back up, let's reset, and let's show you what proper bush spotting and then mechanics, how it works. Any day now. Alright. So now we're going to move up, and we're going to get that spot. Obviously, there's the silhouette. We back down. Now this bush line is dark, and when I fire, I will no longer get spotted. That's basically how this goes, and you can do this as much as you can. I'm just going to fire again for a blind shot. I'm going to pull up, reset, back down. And this is how your bush mechanics will work. Now, a trick that I will say that you need to learn to do is when you fire, regardless if you think you're double bushed or not, if you're right here, when you fire, you should go ahead and back down behind the cover. The reason for this is, one, they may just blind fire the bush. Two, you never know. There could be a tank out here or over here that has an angle on you, and you could get spotted by doing this. I see it all the time where people think that when they fire, they're not going to be spotted. They are, and all of a sudden you get to shoot back at them, or you get to shoot at somebody that didn't, when they were shooting at somebody else. Either way, just remember, pull up, You got good concealment. If you can see through the bush, you can now spot them. Back up, fire, and back down into cover till you're reloaded. And then you move up and finish the target off. That's double bushing in a nutshell. Hope that helps you guys out. Okay, now that Honey Badger's in the 60 TP. 60 TP has a 152 millimeter gun, and I did check while we were looking at this. This is a 46 millimeter plate, so the 152 millimeter gun is 3 times larger, so this should auto penetrate that right above the mantlet. And as you see, exactly where it's in here, perfect hit, overmatched mechanic, matched. So, like I said, it's good to know that these things work like that, but it is not necessary to understand this all play. It's not going to really make that big of a difference in your gameplay, but obviously if you know you can overmatch that right there with your gun, it's going to benefit. Now, one thing that will, you can overmatch a lot of times, just keep this in mind, engine decks commonly can be overmatched. Obviously the rear of a tank a lot of times can be overmatched, but anytime you can shoot those tanks, I highly recommend you do so. But also keep in mind, if you got a tank with a weak plate and someone is taking advantage of that, you might want to avoid that fight. Now, knowing overmatch mechanics is all well and good in all the armor values out there that you can take advantage of that on, but I will constantly tell you there is one mechanic that will help a little bit more than that, and that's understanding what you can actually penetrate with HE rounds. Now, I'm going to show you an instance where switching to HE actually saved my tank. Now, in this match, there is a full health Waffentrager, which can definitely end me if it gets in a good situation. I quickly swapped to a HE round, 1230 on the first shot for that Waffentrager, and I'm just going to try to find some kind of cover while I can, and hopefully be able to get loaded before he comes around this corner. And hit him for the second one for 930. If you learn what you can pin with HE rounds, particularly, especially these real squishy tanks, like these German TDs like this are really easy to know, but, you know, 4005, a Brask, you know, commonly seen in tier 8, it can easily be penetrated with most HE rounds at the same tier. That's going to increase your damage significantly more than understanding overmatch mechanics. So to find out what you can penetrate with HE, start with those really paper thin tanks to think about it, and just get in the habit of hitting that intuition button and key and switching over to HE rounds. Really important. It'll probably increase your, if you get good at it, it probably increases your damage by 1 to 200 on average per game. So especially at tier 10, maybe a little bit less at lower tiers, but tier 10, I think it's about an average 1 to 200 for me. So that's it for this one. Little tip. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so let's go over an aiming tip. Now, how many of you have seen this situation where there's a 60 TP or something on the other side, and you're trying to shoot that capacity little Pola, and I'll see people do this all the time. They're just trying to track it, trying to get the perfect shot. That's actually pretty hard to do. Instead, what you want to do is wait for them to drive into your reticle. So you'll aim right here, and you'll just wait for them to come by. Well, that one didn't go through. But this is much easier to hit. Can you believe I actually hit the Capola and it didn't pin? Go figure. Let's see if we can get it right this time. Alright. Talk about bad aim. She's juking me. I'll get her this time. There. It's much easier to hit it like that. So just wait for them to drive into your Capola. It'll increase your odds. It's much easier than just falling around. And as you see, you can just sit here and click. Once you have the right height, it's usually pretty easy. And this will help you increase those like little Capola shots. This is what I recommend you trying to do. Speaking of settings, let's look at the settings and let's talk about how we can fix some of that. Okay, so let's talk about the settings right quick. We're going to hit escape. We're going to go to settings. We're going to go to controls right here. And what we're looking at is the arcade aim and sniper aim. Now, as a rule of thumb, you want these to be as low as possible while still being able to play the game comfortably. This will help you kind of hit those real fine shots instead of, you know, your mouse reticle kind of just going everywhere. You can just easily move it to it click on the weak spot of the tank. Hopefully the RNG's on your side and it penetrates. But if you really want to improve your aim, move your mouse button right below the screen here where it says subscribe and click it. I hear it actually helps. So I don't know. Let me know. And I will see you guys later, hopefully in a match. If you see me, send me a message. I love reading them. I will talk to you guys later, and thank you.